Hi guys, my NewBright Hummer, I think it's NewBright, yes, NewBright. This one's still got the original toy grade radio control gear. I'm thinking of upgrading it to hobby grade, leave the motor as it is, but change it to hobby grade radio control. So we'll have a quick look inside. The chassis is practically identical to the one that I've got on the bottom of the Barbie Jeep. That came from I think that came from a NewBright Brutus, but I think the chassis is virtually identical. Certainly the engine and gearbox looks the same, or motor and gearbox, although this one I've had to repair because I shattered it in a impressive little accident. So that's super glue and baking powder. Anyway, it should be about 4 screws to undo it, I think. Just noticed the original price label in there. This one cost me, there we are, £2 a while back. Can't remember which charity shop it was. There's even a date there, 2011-18. Can you see that? 2011-18. So 2020 I bought this in a charity shop. Right. Okay. So the lazy way of doing a hobby grade conversion, let's just move the camera a bit. Leave the steering motor as it is without changing it out for a proper hobby grade servo, and use a ESC to control the power going to it, and leave the existing motor at the back and use an ESC to control that. That was for strapping the battery underneath, because as usual this came without the proper battery pack in there, so I had to make my own. Well, I just used a LiPo. 9.6 volts that says there, so it would have had a probably nickel metal hydride battery pack, which, as you can see, I just soldered a connector on there so I could plug one of my LiPos in. Actually, one thing about these NewBrights, if I remember rightly, is you can actually slide the receiver and the battery chamber out just undo that, I think. It comes out as a module. Slide that back a bit. And it should all pop out. What's stopping that? Oh, another screw up there. I missed that. Come on, you're supposed to come out nice and easily. That's what I was trying to tell people. Yeah. So you don't actually need to take the body shell off. You can pull it out from underneath. And then the motor is plug-ended. So if you happen to have the right connectors, you could actually plug them straight into an ESC or two ESCs, and away we can go. So I'll just have a look, see if I've got anything that we can use. Although, to be honest, it's hardly worth it. It's easier just to chop them off. Let's have a look what ESCs I've got laying around. A quick test, and then I'll show you what I've done. This is all a bit temporary. Really haven't got much steering. I'll just do a quick range check up to the end of the kitchen and back. Yeah, that looks like it works. Now I'll show you what I've done, because it's a bit of a bit of a bodge. Right, nice big fat ESC that will handle the 3S LiPo that I'm using, that's strapped in there. I didn't use the original connectors. I've just used a electrician's chocolate block, as we used to call them, just to connect up the ESC to the motor. And then for the steering, I am using an ESC to drive the steering motor, but I'm using a second battery to run that ESC. It might seem a bit odd, but it's because the connector for the battery is a nice big lumpy connector, which I need to have a Y splitter or a T splitter, whichever way you want it, so that we feed that ESC and that ESC. We need a splitter to go both ways, and that means I'll have to make up a special adapter to allow me to do that. So the quick and easy way out of that is have one battery for the drive and one battery for the steering. That's one of my vape battery 2S's. I mean, there's loads of room for it. We can actually leave it like that permanently, but it's a bit of a mess. But it's working. So we have hobby grade, conversion, quick and dirty, job done. Oh, another thing, because we're using 2 separate batteries, where we would normally have 3 wires coming from the ESC going to the receiver, we've actually disconnected the positive, so we don't get any confusion between that battery feed and that battery feed. I've never had any trouble with it, but apparently it can cause problems. So if you're using separate batteries, it's best to disconnect the positive feed from one of the batteries so they don't cause problems. So say I haven't had that problem, but apparently it is a thing. But it does mean you've got to remember to switch off both ESCs or both batteries when you're not using it. Well, obviously you ought to disconnect the battery anyway, but I've strapped it in there just so we could get it running. And we have a big hole underneath here now, which is easy access for putting the batteries in. So I'll probably 3D print something to actually hold the batteries in place up under there. Or just continue to strap it in place like that. So I will put the cover on just so we can give it a quick run and see it. I think that'll do for now. And then the next run we'll do outdoors somewhere so we can actually give it a range check. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment so I know how I'm doing. And somewhere up here there'll be some links to related playlists. Thanks again.